This is a U.S.-China media brief produced by the UCLA Asian American Studies Center. The U.S.-China media brief features interviews with experts and other prominent individuals involved in studying and documenting the dynamic and ever-evolving relationship between the United States of America and the People's Republic of China. I'm Russell Leong, Director of the U.S.-China media brief of the UCLA Asian American Studies Center. How effective do you think are the current Chinese labor laws to enforce workers' rights, such as the Trade Union Law 1992, labor law, and the latest labor contract law?
Well, this is a very interesting question, where the law and regulation in terms of labor relation might work or not. It's kind of very interesting to look at the essence or the natures or the basic value orientation of Chinese labor law or any law in China. They still carry a very strong kind of left-wing or socialist impact. Basically, you look at the regulation in terms of the normal written things, in terms of the protection of workers, ordinary peoples, are very strong. The problem is about the implementation. So these days, the main challenge is how to to implement all those nicely written law and regulations. And then the issue comes down to how to bring teeth or the biting power to those law and regulations. Right? The experience of the more industrialized societies or the country like in Europe, or even in the United States, the forces should come from at least the two resources. One is the governments, right, the formal political structure and legislation. The other one is societal, social forces, the organization of workers, for instance. But in China, the forces these days, unfortunately, is the only sources available which can produce real impact is from the government. So the society is not a strongly organized society, but I would add society in general doesn't have a very powerful impact on these kind of things. But the available for internet, the innovation of technology these days, bring a very interesting twist into this whole thing. There's no formal channel for the autonomous force in society to influence this law implementation, but through informal channel or unexpected consequences of innovation of internet these days, media became an important, media and then internet became an important channel for the society, even for the workers, blue-collar workers, to channel their information, their pressure, their discontent into the attention of government. If you look at the education level of our workers these days, majority of them, I would say about 50% of them get a junior high school education and lower, but another 50% of them get high school education and higher, which means they're all literate. So meaning they can use internet, they can discuss their discontent in blog or in internet. A PhD student of mine, now he graduated, when he conducted his PhD studies on the labor relations, on the government and labor and business relation in Shenzhen, one important source for him to get the voice of workers is through the workers' discussion blog. So he claimed, well, he gave a lot of information from that. This day, and also media pays a lot of attention to these informal discussions about workers' discontent. So sometimes it's not a systematic way. In a non-systematic way, workers' opinion, discontent, can be channeled through internet, media, and then become precious than specific government, and also call attention from the higher authorities. In that way, they can have some impact. But in my opinion, that's far from enough. So ideally, we'll have a better, a higher level of organization of society. So once the society is better organized, has a more autonomous impacts, plus the attention of government, and then the implementation of labor law and all this nicely written law will have a better impact.
Right, so what you're saying is actually a number of elements, a number of factors in society basically have to come together to coalesce, whether it's better communication, which leads to better organization, government regulation, enforcement, and so forth.
Yeah. Now they come together in a non-systematic way. It's a kind of random way. So, well, it's better to have them, right? But it's even better if they can have a more systematic way to have that voice heard and to have that